Within the expert panel discussion at the clinic following the Paris Olympics, Hall of Fame and 8-time Olympic coach, Mark Schubert said,
"If we want to be good, we better think about how can we be better. Not better, but good. One male gold medal is pathetic. It's not bad, it's pathetic, and it's our responsibility."
This Heavy or Not podcast conversation continues with the third part in this series, as Coach Carol Capitani from the USA Olympic staff in Paris, and also the women's coach at the University of Texas, takes the microphone.
I guess I was the only one sitting up here that was on that Olympic staff. I mean, I was doing my best.
As you did. That had nothing to do with
No, I didn't
study that. No.
I was a team player.
The main thing I have after that, yeah. What you
I mean, my coaching heroes were in the room last night. Like, they were being honored. That is my blood. It is Jack. It's Shoulder. It's looking on those stats. It's watching. I mean, it was exactly what we mentioned. It was Troy and Terry and Bob and Dave Marsh and, Jack. And I thought, okay, well, I guess if I coach till I'm 70, I may be on a staff at some point. Eddie's the best at coaching everybody else's kids at the meet, at NC2As. I mean, Eddie will come up to another kid at NC2As from a relationship, Jack would. So I think that's where I wanted to model my own behavior, because I thought that was normal. That's why I'm in the sport. It's relationships. It's not, I wish I could say it was more about, it is about the times, but it is about the relationships, because I think the relationships get you to those times. I gave a talk once about Bob and Michael. They wouldn't have had the times without the relationship, whether it was contentious and awesome and anywhere in between. All right. So was it an unbelievable experience? Absolutely. Was it different than I expected? Yes. I did not see or feel what I imagined it to be, watching a lot of staffs come before. But it doesn't mean I'm mad that I was on. I have to say, but I think we got to work on that. The second part is, I have been fortunate enough to be on international staff since 2005. My first World University Games trip in 2005. That's almost 20 years. I've been head coach dual the pole and World Championships now, and a million things. And like all of us up here, I think it was a badge of honor for a long time, but we've done it for free. And you want to reward athletes. You want to reward performances. You're losing my interest real quick in saying yes to everything. I mean, I did it with a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, all the way up to my kids are adults now, and I missed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't feel very valued. I mean, you're talking about people coming to your programs, people coming, nobody comes to Texas because they think we have it all. They're like, oh, well, they have the resources, or they're lazy, or they come and then they're like, well, what do you need? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? What are you offering? I think there's a lack of respect. I don't feel it. We're their rice bowl. They just want us to produce and take all the credit. And then when it's shitty, they're like, oh, well, we didn't swim that well. Well, nobody's calling me saying, what do you need to be great? It's just, and if they were saying oh, wow, this is this, it's not that I'm going to coach harder for the money, but you feel more value. You feel seen and heard and appreciated. And then you put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
So that's.
My experience with Canada is very similar to Bob's. They've been on my pool deck 4 or 5 times in the last 16 months. I speak to John Atkinson once a month. They have never said no to anything we've ever asked of them, whether it be money to travel, resources for nutrition, or whatever. I mean, there's a whole laundry list of things that we've asked for. They've never said no to anything ever. They embraced me as being part of the staff for the same reasons that Bob was welcomed on the French staff. So this is the young lady who's winning the most medals for her country. And I think I'm the first non-Canadian to be on a Canadian Olympic staff. it's a big deal for them. And it's something that I didn't take lightly either. And I'm about as patriotic as it comes. But I wore that Hagelin proudly for them. But resources were not an issue. And I don't know if that always is the case here, even though we have all of the resources on the planet. I can't speak to all of the ins and outs of Team USA. I mean, I haven't been on a whole bunch of Olympic staffs, but I mean, I certainly from the outside looking in, it was a strange feel, like watching some of the U.S. staff. But I agree that well, the competition is important. You were talking about not having long course pools. Well, there's lots of people who've gotten it done without long course pools. Yeah, you've got to go and race long course, right? You've got to value long course racing. Stay there a couple of days. Chuck Batchelor, he did all that stuff all the time. He'd go to a swim meet, go a couple of days early, stay a couple of days late, race, long course. I also think that getting our best athletes together is really important. That's one of the things that when Summer first came to me, I wanted to go try to find more meaningful race opportunities for her. For a myriad of reasons, COVID, all that kind of stuff, she got pretty sheltered on where her racing opportunities were. In the United States, we've got no reason to not have our best athletes together, banging heads and making each other better. Iron sharpens iron. When I first got to the opportunity with Emma to go to the camp in 2021, Coach Schubert was in the room when all the coaches are brought in of the athletes, coaches of the athletes that have made the team, and he stood up and said, the number one thing you guys should do during this camp is to make sure that we all get together and race and allow them to compete. It'll make them better down the road. And I just think you probably could do that more often in the United States. And I also think that again, I can compare and contrast, but they do lots of relay camps trying to make sure that their 200 freestyle is very strong. Their 100 free is very strong. And I think I was talking to somebody the last couple of days. We need to value that 200 meter free. That 200 meter free is important to. It's important for people who swim down to the 50. It's important to the people that swim up to the mile. It's important for our relays. And I just don't see our 200 freestyle in the United States progressing the way that it needs to. It's very stagnant right now. Somebody probably knows better than me, but we should have multiple men going 140.
Yes.
And
for sure.
What was it? 42 still?
2.9. 2.8.
We should have more women going 154, 153 in the 200 free. And I think that would have a trickle down effect to both sides. And then my last piece to kind of talk about short course swimming. I've got stupid ideas like in the U.S. Open when it's long course in the winter. College guys that want to enter in non-conforming times, they shouldn't have to enter. If they want to swim the 100 fly at U.S. Open in the long course pool, and you want to enter in a non-conforming, meaning not the long course, you should enter in the 200 yards. You should have to have, the 200 yards is far more equivalent to the 100 meters. So I think you can still do lots of really good short course swimming, but I think you have to value 500 free if you're going to be a 200 meter freestyler. For sure. I think you have to value the 200 yard fly if you're going to be a 100 meter flyer. You look at these guys that are going 129s or faster or want to be faster in the 200 free. Those guys are not going 143 in the 200 free, but they're probably pretty good in the 100 meter free. So I think we've got to use short course swimming smarter. I personally think short course should be done in December. We should all go to long course in January, but that's a whole different.
Yeah, that's all talking about.
Yeah,
actually, no. I still.
That's It's easy for me to say, good, I'm not a college coach, right? So
He did at one point, remember the Bobs, like 2004? I mean, we could make up some cool rules again and have NCAA swimming short course meters. Set so many American records. I mean, that was fun, right?
And is there any place that we need to get to, which is where we have all of our best swimmers most of the time throughout the next 3 years leading into the
Austin, Texas.
There you go. And you're my daily. I was just going to say but no, our next person that those babs aren't with the heads.
Well, we tried that when Jonesy Skinner ran a national camp in Colorado Springs, and he received so much criticism for the coaches because they were selfish and they wanted the kids to swim with them. We had centers of excellence. Same thing.
How important is it that the national team director is one who is going from site to site working with coaches and coaches?
It's everything. When Mark was the national team director, he was in Baltimore, wherever, if he wasn't, he was calling me, what's going on? How can I help? What can we do? If somebody was in trouble, Mark would go and help them. And I think that really saved a lot of people who probably would have fallen by the wayside. So I think that's important. Seems fair.
Is there enough time, in your opinion, to turn this around in 3 years?
Yeah.
Yes.
It all gets down to the individual coaches and the individual athletes that have the ability to do it, coming up with a plan that makes sense, a plan that helps them progress through the years until the Olympics, not kind of pop out 1 year, 2 years before and not maintain it, right? There's timing is a part. So you're going to start looking at people, and there are probably a lot of names we don't even know that could be a factor there if they're properly developed in a sensible way through that time period. I think that plan exactly, and that's where I think national team director comes in as well to help formulate that, right? Kind of identifies people and make sure they're in the right situation and have resources and that they can kind of move through. But I think we've lost a little bit of the sense of long-term planning. I think a lot of things are short-term now. Everybody wants to do everything, and you can't do everything. Like this year, Leon's doing the World Cups this fall. Reagan's doing the World Cups this fall. She's going to do a short course World Championships, an event that I'd have avoided like the plague my entire career, the short course worlds. I mean, I think they're on my menu. Mainly because at some point they have to train, right? But now we have 4 years in the squad. They're going to do that, have a little fun, do something different. And then by January, we're going to be kind of locked into whatever our long-term plan is for LA. And then you're going to start having to say no to some things. You can't go to every meet that comes up. You can't go, particularly when they're pros. And there's a big pull of that because they can make money there, right? So you have to kind of decide what's the payoff. Is it better for you to be able to have a sustained training program that's going to take you to a higher level of performance at the very end? Or is it better for you to kind of take these short-term hits, good things that might compromise that? So I think that we need to get back as a nation to thinking that way. The Australians absolutely think that way. They have LA in their mind, and everything they do between now and then is going to be a progression towards that. It's not just going to be like a one-off. Well, this season we got a Worlds. Let's do the best we can. The next one we have a Worlds. Let's do the best we can. You have to sort of think a little bit more long game, and you have to know how you want your vet program to evolve, how you want to put certain pressure on them in which ways. Is it in the training this year? Is it in the competitions? You can't do everything all the time. So you have to kind of select that menu, and I think we could do a better job of that, and if we do, it'll serve us well down the road.
You just have children loves it.
I think anything that kind of gets people excited about watching. So, the other thing that we could do, and Carol could speak this more than me, is because at Texas, we're trying to do things to create a product that's more watchable, right, than just a normal swim meet, right? So we have production value in a couple meets a year. We're going to have a very high production value, short duration, different event program, and you have to kind of be willing to give up a few things, right? Like there's not going to be 1,000 in there.
Your team can't swim. Like I had a meet last year against NC State, and there were more people there than I think at NC2A fine.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It was an hour and a half. I mean, it was big time. There were pyrotechnics. I mean, they invested money in it, but it was. I mean, they sold alcohol in stands. That doesn't hurt. I'm not kidding. There, but where is there upward than hopes? Okay, so I mean, there are some ways that you can do it, and now other teams are actually calling us, or at the SEC meetings, they were like, I said, I'll be more than happy to talk to anyone about it. This isn't, we're not trying to hoard the ideas here. It's just like, but you got to invest, and you can't like, oh, well, not everybody's going to get to swim Friday night. Nope, there's one heat. But I mean, it makes your team more competitive.
It does.
And look, this is fun. So that's why people play soccer, you know?
Well, then, it's USA Swimming is the same thing. They're going to come to me like next week. Somebody's going to say, we got to get our entries in for this pro swim. It's February 23rd. It's going to be like tomorrow. I'm like, what do you want to swim? I'm like, I got no idea, right? So you just come up with something. And then it's like Carol says, all the people enter and half the people don't come.
Right, because they make you enter in this mad rush.
And there used to be a time when I was coaching where you could say, well, this meet ripped really well, but I'd like to see this other event, so I want to do that for the next one, and you could just kind of enter that. But now you're doing it 6 months in advance. You just can't get it done. You can't think that far ahead. You have to kind of see something before you make a decision about it. So, yeah, there are some things that could improve. Okay, I totally agree. 100%. I was when we have recruits, we take them before the game around the football field, and we're standing there, the parents and the recruits, and the basketball recruits walk by. And these guys were like, if just one of them would swim. You know what I mean? So you're 100% right. Yeah, we have a talent pool, and sometimes we get a little bit higher end, and sometimes we don't. But yeah, I realize that there are other people, but we also have huge numbers that Australia doesn't, right there. Are they 10? How many?
20 million.
20 million people versus us, 300. Yeah. So the other thing is they get to do the things where the best swimmers train together because there aren't that many of them, right? They don't have a collegiate season. They can everything is geared around the international season. Whereas for us, we have a lot of people, a lot of different things going on. And just finding a date to get people together is very difficult. Not that it can't be done, but you have to want it really bad to make it happen. And there, I think it's easier to kind of manage those smaller numbers of people, and they really have to take care of them. They have to do the good job because they don't have any up. So I think sometimes we get a little bit complacent because we could just we'll get it out if these don't work out.
Did a little research on the Australians after the World Championships and called a number of Australian coaches, most of whom didn't tell me the truth. But I called Bud McAllister, who's an American who coached in Australia for a long time. And he said every day at practice they talk about beating the Americans. They're passionate about it. And what are we passionate about? Getting a college scholarship. We're just not passionate about doing well at the Olympics all the way down the line. And everybody said, well, that's an unrealistic goal. Well, I bet if you talk to every Olympian, they'd say when they were 5 or 10, they talked about making the Olympics. We need to make it a higher priority. Sure, getting a college scholarship is great. And I'm not saying we should talk about hating the Australians because I don't think they're as good as us. You don't hate somebody that's inferior. But seriously, we got to get serious about it. I think we're getting some better leadership, hopefully at USA Swimming. But let's face it, the leadership is us. Everybody complains about the leadership at the top at USA Swimming. The leadership is the coaches. I think we need more respect. I think USA Swimming should pay coaches by performance, from the age group level all the way up. We spend a lot of money on bullshit. If we want to be good, we better think about how can we be better. not better, but good. 1 male gold medal is pathetic. It's not bad, it's pathetic. And it's our responsibility. That's all I think.
Thank you for sharing.
May I add to that? I know Mark for 28, 40 years, probably more than that. Sure. And I remember when he started to work with USA Swimming, I was head of sports science over there. Mark came on board. So his first meeting was very motivational. He came, similar like now, and told that we have to win every gold medal at Olympic Games. We can win, and we need to focus on every gold medal. I think it's very doable. I think so many swimmers, so many great coaches, so many great swimmers in the country. And I'm immigrant over here, moved more than 25 years ago already. As you know, probably most of you, but I love United States and helping athletes and coaches all around the country. And I think winning all the medals, it's very doable, all gold medals. If you have very high goal, then you'll strive for this goal, and finally it will win, maybe not all of them, but 50, 60, 70%. It used to win 50% back in 2016 and earlier, and more than that. So that's why we can win these medals. And I think using also sports science and other things, and a lot of coaches already, that's also a very important step. And
How would sports science, how can it be implemented on the road to Los Angeles? What is your vision for how it can promote, enhanced success for the United States?
Yeah. I mean, Los Angeles is right around the corner with Paris. It's not too far, okay? You'll still have the same swimmers that we have now in Los Angeles, but already in the system. And in order to perform really well for the same swimmers, we need to change some. You cannot do the same thing and hoping for better results. And to change something, there are a lot of different ways to change. You can use sports science as biomechanics, which we are doing a lot of research as well, biomechanics. You can use sports science as a recovery. Training design can improve. And based on our mathematical models, I mentioned in my presentation on the first day, on only biomechanics, we should swim now about 3 seconds faster world record 100 freestyle than it is right now. And then this Chinese swimmer broke record 46.4. Everyone, wow, so fast. I can prove you that today we can swim 43.9 and not 46.4. You're swimming very slowly. World records are slow. 5-10 years from now, nobody will be looking at this world records. So there is so much things to do, and including sports science, and we can improve our performances really a lot. And I don't know if current generation of swimmers, probably difficult for them would be to swim 43.9, but we will start from the beginning, from Learn to Swim program, and we just launched new science-based Learn to Swim program. So we should, teaching kids avoids all the mistakes that we see in talented swimmers. They're just not learning this mistake. They don't know what is this mistake, leaning on the arms or opening arms in butterfly or in breaststroke too much. They don't know this mistake because they're not teaching them. How fish is swimming? Fish swims without arms, all right? And they're relying so much on the arms. Okay? There are a lot of other differences between humans and fish, such as there is no neck. That's why we need to eliminate neck when we swim. Okay? Keep very tight. There are a lot of drills to do that. There are no knees for fish, correct? So we need to eliminate the leaks as well. He can collect a fishtail from the body. So there are a lot of different things to learn, and I'm learning about that also every day, basically, and developing different drills and testing these drills. So I think there are so many things to change and swim way, way faster.
Thanks for all you do for our world of sport, your community, and the youth of tomorrow. We hope to see you again at WAFSU.org and the International Swim Coaches Association event soon. Stay tuned for new exciting services coming at ago.lap.red. Stay safe.